Hello everyone. This session is based on verbal communication skills, its importance and how to enhance that. Well, everybody these days is talking about the importance of communication skills. Yes, it is indeed important. Gone are those times when people used to work in isolation, gone are those times when people used to go to their offices, work their complete stuff and come back from the offices at fixed time periods. Today is an era of flexibility, adaptability and your adaptability towards these kind of situations. Communication skills become very important, especially the verbal communication skills, because you have to interact with a lot of people in your daily lives. You might have to interact with your colleagues, you might have to interact with the vendors, you might have to interact with the clients. So right verbal skills, choosing the right words, the right expressions really matter. So this particular video will talk about the importance of verbal communication skills and how to enhance them. So first of all, let's talk about verbal communication. What is it? So first, it is about sharing information with people that matter to you. Then it is about sending and receiving information as well. And why is it important is creating first impression, right? So verbal communication, see, it is not only about me as a speaker or you as a listener, it is about both of us, because if I speak in one particular language, if you're not able to understand that language pretty well, then I as a speaker, I completely fail. Or no matter how good or how bad I speak, if I'm not able to capture your interest as a listener, then I'll be a complete failure. So verbal communication skills is not only about the one who's speaking, it is also about the one who's listening. I'll talk about the characteristics of an effective communicator one by one. So the one who is an effective communicator has to listen actively, and what I mean by active listening is that I show non-verbal cues while talking to you or while listening to you. So if I nod my head, if I maintain an eye contact, then I would be called an effective listener. Adaptability, and adaptability is adapting your communication styles to support the situation. So I don't have to be fixed whenever I say about talking to somebody. I have to change my way of talking, I have to change my words according to the interest of the person, and I have to change how I speak according to the set of people who are there in the audience. So that is adaptability. So I need to understand that from various non-verbal cues, that what, how and when I am going to speak. Then is clarity. Whatever I am going to speak as a speaker, it has to be very clear. I have to be very confident with the words, and in case if I don't know the meaning of any word, I should avoid using that very often, right? Then is confidence and assertiveness. So whatever you are going to speak as a speaker, you need to act confidently, and sometimes it is said that you can actually try to be confident. Sometimes it happens that you are not very confident about one particular thing, but when you start doing that, you start getting confident. There's something called a Johari window, which talks about the hidden aspects of a particular personality, and those who are aware of the Johari window concept, that they are aware that there are certain areas which are not known to me and not known to others also. So those are called the hidden concepts or the hidden areas of somebody's personality. So when a particular person is exposed to challenging situations, then he gets to know that yes, I have that potential which I was unaware of, and that helps you out in understanding the importance of exposing yourself to the various situations, right? Next is constructive feedback, giving and receiving it. So while communicating, if somebody is going to give you some kind of feedback that you have to improve at this particular position, you have to improve in this particular dimension, let's take it positively and let's try to improve over it, right? Emotional intelligence, identifying and managing your emotions as well as other people's emotion. So somebody who wants to be an effective communicator has to understand that emotional intelligence is equally important. Not just being good at it, but understanding the other person's emotions is also very important. We'll talk about the characteristics of an effective communicator. The first is empathy. Empathy is understanding how the other person is feeling, being in the other person's situation to understand what and how he is going through that particular situation, because that will make me realize how to effectively communicate. Then is interpersonal skills, social skills, which are especially useful in building strong rapport. So interpersonal skill is that how you are going to communicate with 2 or 3 people, or how good you are at understanding the other person. That is nothing but interpersonal skills. So these are social skills, and they would be built up once you start interacting with people. There is interpretation of body language. This will help you understand how someone is feeling. Now sometimes what happens is that you as a speaker, you keep on speaking for hours and hours and hours, but the other person is not even interested in what you are listening. So you need to capture this beforehand. You need to understand the expressions of the other person. You need to understand from the expressions of the other people that whether they are interested, whether they are getting what I am speaking or not. So this has to be understood well in time. Then is open mindedness. Right, you don't have to be rigid while communicating, because there would be a lot of ideas that come up from other people also. So you have to be open towards all those ideas. You need to absorb all those ideas and then probably reframe them in order to be good at communication. Patience, yes, it is the key, right, because as I said, communication is an art of transferring your ideas. So you need to be very patient with what the other people is trying to speak, because at times it happens that whatever I am going to speak, you might not be able to understand that in that particular sense. So in this particular situation, patience is going to help you out in a big way. Simplifying the complex matter and storytelling, as we talked in the previous slides also. Storytelling, yes, it is going to help you out as an effective communicator. And storytelling, you need to frame a particular story in the process of input, process and output. Right. So this is something that is going to help you out, and these are some of the characteristics of an effective communicator. There is, I am going to discuss the techniques for improving your communication skills. See, there are various levels, and I would say that nobody is excellent as a communicator, and at any point of time in life there is always a scope of improvement. So if you believe that you are good at it, but you still want to improve, or you are just a beginner and you want to be good at it because that is going to help you out in your professional life, I am going to share certain tips with you. First is think, breathe and speak. Because what happens many times when we are in a hurry, when we are in a rush, we speak something that we have never even thought of. So I would advise that avoid being in such situations first of all, because, and in case if you are in such situation, don't be in a rush, don't be in a hurry to talk about things. Just think about what you are going to speak. Right. And if you say that sometimes what happens is that we don't get time to think about it. Well, in that case, certain techniques will help you out, which I am going to discuss with you in the forthcoming slides. So the first technique is that give certain pauses in your speech while speaking. Now for example, if I've given certain amount of pause while speaking, this pause is enabling me to think my next sentence. This pause is helping me out to think that what my next sentence, what my next idea could be. Right, because in impromptu speeches and in the kind of extemporaries, what happens is that you are given a topic on the spot. So you don't even know what the topic could be. In those situations, you would say that I have not got any time to think of how would I speak. Well, I would say that in all those situations, take a deep breath, think and then speak, and give appropriate pauses in your speech while speaking, because these pauses will give you time to decide upon your next action. Right. So next is, I would say, if you can imagine it, you can achieve it. So I believe that visualization is very powerful. Right. So and I would like to recommend one particular thing, that always visualize yourself to be a good speaker. Right. Never ever visualize yourself that you are committing a mistake on the stage, that you are committing a mistake while communicating with somebody. Don't do that. I believe that feeding your mind with positive thoughts is very, very important. Because it is said that the kind of ideas that go into your mind, they stay in your mind and they come out from your mouth in the form of words. So if you visualize yourself as a good speaker, you will be a good speaker. If you visualize yourself committing a lot of errors, you are going to do that. So visualize yourself that you can achieve it, and you will definitely achieve it. Then is keep your audience in mind. Well, I say this because as a speaker, no matter how good you are in one particular language, if your audience is not able to understand that language, you as a speaker fail. right? Also, for example, if you are talking to one particular age category and the kind of words that you are speaking right now are not understandable by that category, or vice versa, then you as a communicator fail big time. So, you need to keep your audience in mind while designing your speech or while choosing your words. Then I would like to take your focus on active listening. See, a communicator or the person who is communicating or the person who is speaking is successful if and only if he is having the right set of audience, and a communicator himself has to be a good listener first. So, I am going to tell you certain facts about how to listen actively. So, first is paying attention. Look at the audience directly and maintain an eye contact. Maintaining eye contact is very important, which I have reiterated in many of the slides. Don't think about your reply while they are speaking, right? So, when they are speaking, give them appropriate time. You don't have to think that you don't have to be in a hurry to reply. There is a difference between replying and responding. So, I would say don't reply, don't react, you have to respond, and when you are responding, you have to first understand what the other person is speaking, because when you are in a hurry, your mind don't works in its best manner. So, first understand what the person is speaking, analyze, give yourself some time, take appropriate pauses and then respond, don't react. Then is interpret their body language. I would say that an active listener, when you are paying attention as a speaker also, you have to pay attention towards the non-verbal cues of the listener. If they are maintaining an eye contact, they are good listeners. If they are nodding their head, they are a good listener. But if they are not looking at you, they have lost the interest, their attention span is completely over. And last is try to avoid being distracted by what's happening around you. So, you don't have to be aware, or even if you are aware of what is happening around you, you at times have to ignore that, right? Because your main focus should be what you are speaking should reach your audience, right? And your audience's non-verbal cues should reach you. So, for example, if something is wrong on the right side of my this particular station, I have to ignore it for the time being, because my interest right now is to capture your interest, right? Okay, next is show the speaker that you are interested. So, if I have to show as a listener that I am a good listener, I have to show the speaker that I am very much interested in whatever the speaker is saying. So, how can I do that? Use your body language to highlight your engagement, such as nodding, smiling, maintaining an open posture, right? As I say that a non-verbal communication, its impact or its weightage in the communication equation is 60%. So, without even speaking anything, without even speaking a single word, I am able to communicate a lot of things about me. So, for example, right now if you are nodding your head while listening to me, you are getting whatever I am speaking. If you are smiling and if you are maintaining an open posture, which means that you are not crossing your arms like this, yes, you are actively listening to me. And in case if it is not happening, I am sorry to say that I have failed as a communicator, right? Because I have to observe all these cues in my listeners, whether they are getting every single thing or not. Use prompts such as I see, okay, etc. So, for example, and this is especially helpful in interpersonal skills. For example, if you are interacting with somebody and if you are standing cold and if you are not even nodding your head, not even maintaining an eye contact, the person will feel that this person is totally disinterested. On the contrary, if you are nodding your head, if you are maintaining an eye contact, and if you are using words like okay, I see, that will help the other person in understanding that this is an active listener, right? And last but not the least is that clarify your understanding. See, it is very important to close the loop. So, for example, you said something, you as a communicator said something and your listeners said something. Now, if this listener is trying to give you some feedback that this is what you communicated, and you communicate back to the listener that yes, this is what I was, this is a win-win situation, right? Because then the communication loop is completely closed, right? But in most of the situations, what happens is that people don't close this loop. It happens in most of our situations, in most of our life situations, that I say something else and the other person understands something else, right? So, in order to avoid this thing, it is very important to close the loop. So, it is very important to solicit feedback, and if not solicit feedback, to ask it explicitly from the other person. Then is ask whether you have got it right and accept if you need to be corrected, See, there is no harm in asking the other person whether you have got it right and you have got it in the same manner in which the speaker was speaking, and accept if you need to be corrected, right. The second is ask for specific examples. So, for example, if you have not understood a concept, you can ask the other person to correlate them with some specific examples. Then is admit if you are unsure about what the speaker means. If you have not understood something completely, please admit it and let the other person know that what you have understood. And last is ask the speaker to repeat something if you think it will help. So, asking is going to help you out. Don't think that if you ask or if you take feedback from the other person, it inculcates some kind of shame or something. No, it means that you are good at communication, and if you take feedback, that is going to help you out. Don't interrupt or redirect the conversation. See, before saying anything, ensure that the speaker has finished a point. So, for example, if I as a speaker, if I am going to speak something and you as a listener, you have interrupted me in between, the content could be stopped in between, right. So, that will leave a bad impact. So, it is your duty as a listener to that you do not have to interrupt me at some particular point, you need to finish me with a particular thing, and in case if you have not understood me completely, then you can interrupt me right here and ask me that is this what you want to communicate. Then I can start by saying that no, this was not what I wanted to communicate, the thing that I wanted to communicate was something else, right. So, the crux is that you do not have to interrupt in between right here. Let the speaker finish first and then you can interrupt, ask for the clarity, and then the speaker can continue again, right. Moving ahead, provide a suitable response. Now, how is it going to help you out? Be honest when you respond, but avoid attacking or making the speaker feel bad, because this is unhelpful. See, giving some kind of feedback is good, but giving the wrong feedback right away is even bad. Well, I said, I believe that in case if you have to, share some feedback with somebody, there has to be, a sandwiching kind of a thing. So, first of all, you have to share a positive feedback. Then you can share something negative in a manner that the other person is not offended, and then you can again share the positive feedback. So, this sandwiched approach is going to help you out, because the person will not feel bad, because yes, you have not talked about the negative feedback straight away, and the person will be happy that you are sharing the positive feedbacks in the beginning as well as in the end. And the most important thing is provide your opinions politely. See, communication involves a lot of things into consideration, and politeness is one of them. There is no cost associated with talking to somebody in a polite manner. So, in case if you are capable of doing that, please do that. Empathy, let's talk about it. So, imagine yourself in someone else's position, right. Practice listening to your colleagues without interrupting them. So, this will help you in being more empathetic. Observe your colleagues and try to gauge how they are feeling, right. Never ignore the other person's emotions. For example, if somebody looks upset, don't disregard this, always try to address this. Try to understand first rather than form a judgment. To communicate your empathy, keep your body language open and regulate your voice to show your sincerity. So, these are some of the things that you can do to showcase that yes, you are empathetic towards with whom you are interacting with. Let us talk about the body language and postures. See, in this particular pie chart, this we have talked about in that particular communication equation, that communication is a combination of three things. First is words, and its weightage is 10% roughly. The voice or sound is 30%, and the body or visuals is 60%. So, body language and posture has to be taken care of, and you need to understand that if in case if you have to be good at communication, you do not have to be necessarily very good at language part. In case if you improvise on the 60% and 30% ratio, you can do excellent when it comes to communication. So, next I am going to talk about 8 rules for effective communication skills. So, the 8 rules are listed here. Let us talk about them one by one. Think about both your content and your audience. Is your speech suitable? So, whatever you are going to speak, is it appropriate? Is it as per the situation, and is it relatable by the audience or not? Second is understand the core message you are trying to get across and the 3 points you want your audience to take away with them, right. So, you do not have to be prepared with the elongated speeches, you just have to focus on 3 points, right. So, the 3 points theory states that you have to understand the core message and then 3 points you want your audience taking away with them. Have an overview of your speech in mind before spending time on the details. So, the overview has to be there with you, because once the blueprint is there, then you can easily do with the explanation part. Have a clear presentation structure and show it repeatedly to your audience, so that so that in order to know in which section they are on and how long they are left. Then is rehearse aloud, record your voice and present it to friends, and if possible do not forget to take their feedback, right. So, rehearsals will help you out. The more you practice, the more you are able to connect with your own self and solicit feedback, ask for feedback and ask your friends to analyze your speeches. Try to keep your speeches simple, focus on only a few points and explain them clearly, right. So, simplicity is the key, you do not have to be very complicated, you focus on simple things, focus on only a few points, you do not have to talk about 10 different points, just talk about 3 of them, but be sure that you talk about them very thoroughly. Be enthusiastic, move around the stage and use body language to convey your confidence. Yes, you have to be energetic, you have to be enthusiastic, you have to be in sync with whatever you are speaking, and let your body language do the rest, like let your body language talk about how energetic you are, and then make a list of possible questions and rehearse answers for them. This might happen that while preparing for a particular communication part or a delivery or a speech part, you might anticipate that this could be the questions that my audience might have in mind. So, in case if you have those questions in mind beforehand, please rehearse the answers and please talk about the answers beforehand, right. So, next we are going to cover what extemporaries are. We are going to cover, in case if you encounter such a situation, in how to handle extemporaries or the unprepared or impromptu speeches, what you have to do, right. So, what actually is an extempore? An extempore is an impromptu speech, which means that you are not given any time to prepare for that. So, an extempore is an impromptu speech. What does it do? It tests the ability to think, organize and speak there and then. So, as a professional, if you are able to get the ideas very quickly, if you are able to structure your ideas very quickly, and if you are able to talk about those ideas very quickly, this particular skill is being checked by a lot of recruiters these days with the help of a very simple tool called an extempore, right. Analysis of topic and key issues, whether you are able to analyze the topic and the key issues related with that. If you have the capability, you could have faced a lot of extemporaries before, and you could have faced this kind of challenge, that you need to analyze the topic and you should be aware of the key issues related to that topic. Idea generation. Another challenge when it comes to extempore is that on the spot I do not get any idea. So, what do I talk about, right. So, this is one of the very common thing that people face while participating in extemporaries. Prioritization and sequencing to display a logical thinking. So, for example, if I am given a topic to speak on, I have a lot of ideas in my mind that I can talk about this, I can talk about that, but how to prioritize those ideas. So, for example, if related to one particular thing, I have 10 different ideas. Should I talk about first idea first or should I talk about 7th idea first? So, this kind of prioritization and then sequencing is also important. Should I sequence them as 1, 2, 3, or should I talk about 7th thing first, followed by 4th, followed by 4th? So, this is one of the challenges, and displaying logical thinking, whether the way if I have sequenced something, is it logical or is it unrelated, right. Then communication skills, yes, they are checked, and once again I iterate, communication skills, not necessarily the verbal part, the tone and tuning and non-verbal cues are also evaluated, right. And overall presentation skills, the way you are standing, the way you are dressed up, the way you are speaking, the way you are not speaking, everything can be a challenge for some people, right. So, we will now understand how to behave in an extempore. I would say the first tip for preparation is mental preparation, right. The mental preparation part is very, very important, which means that if you are mentally prepared that how to handle an extempore, half of the battle is already won, right. So, know what to speak before delivering the speech, ponder over the topic for some time and prepare the flow of delivery. This is nothing but a mental preparation. Understand the audience, the direction they are most likely to accept helps in framing the flow of the speech. So, extempore is more about mental preparation, and mental preparation not only includes what you are going to speak, but it also includes what your audience is going to understand. So, all this preparation, anticipation and planning has to go beforehand. Next is you have to handle the mental blocks smartly. So, at times when you get blank about what to speak, try to think about it in the situation gracefully by avoiding being nervous, you know. And what can help you out? Candid smiles can help you out. It is better to have a backup plan, right. So, for example, if it happens that you are stuck somewhere and you do not know what to speak, how to speak, let body language help you out there, right. So, otherwise what happens is you get nervous, your body language shows that. Now, please start doing this thing, that when you are nervous, let your body language help you out. How? By simply smiling, by giving a pause, right, and during that pause think about what could be my next sentence, what could be my new idea, what could be the change in mental preparation, what could be the prioritizing and sequencing of my points. So, that is going to help you out, right. I will also share a structure with you. For example, if you face any extempore situation or unprepared speech if you have to deliver, I am going to share a structure with you. So, there are 4 parts of this particular structure. The first is opening statement. Opening statement is very important because here you need to grab the person's attention, and as I said, in communication the first 7 seconds are very, very essential. If you are able to capture the person's attention in first 7 seconds, your job is done, right. So, grab attention of audience, you can use quotes, you can use observations, you can use relevant examples. So, for example, if I start my extempore with a quotation, right, that is related to that particular topic, I think it will be able to capture the person's interest. If I use my observation about that particular topic, my observation of other people about that particular topic, the audience will be able to relate with that. And in case if I use relevant examples, people would be able to relate with that also. Then is the second part is, this was the first part, the opening statement. The second is facts. Please focus on 2 or 3 facts and be specific. It is not required that you have to present a lot of facts. Lot of facts are definitely not required, because in extempores the timing is very limited. You are given maybe 1, 2 or maximum 3 minutes to speak. So, in case if you dilute your speech by using a lot of facts, this is not going to help you out. Rather, 2 or 3 facts would be more than enough, right. Third is you can use anecdotes. And what are anecdotes? These are your short stories about your own self. So, association with yourself will make it relatable. So, for example, if you talk about your stories or your experiences, you will be able to speak confidently and the people would be able to relate with it more in a better manner. And fourth is how to close it. So, closing is equally as important as opening, because as I said, the attention span is limited. So, in case if you let earlier points lead to your conclusion, that is going to be an appropriate closing for the entire thing, right. So, there are 3 major areas where you need to work on. The first is fluency. You need to be fluent with whatever you are speaking, because that is what is required in most of the extempores. Then is you have to be good at content. So, my suggestion is that you go through all the current affairs, you go through all the you should be aware of what is going around you. So, in case if you are well aware of that, the content will not be a problem. Be a good reader, right. Reading habit actually helps most of us. Write blogs, because in case if you have to write something, you need to read a lot of things first and then only you would be in a position to write. So, these things would be able to help you out in creating a content. Fluency, it is a matter of practice. First you need to practice, and then you need to observe people. The more you observe, the more you will be able to find out how people speak, and then you can practice and copy their best practices. And then is structure. As I said, the structure could be various. It has to be relatable. It has to be relatable first. It should be able to capture interest of the people, and it should have a appropriate flow, right. Like you need to take care of the priority aspect, you need to take care of the sequencing aspect, right. So these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you all. So these are the three major areas where you have to work on in order to be good at, extemporaries. So that is it about extemporaries. Thank you so much.